Hey everybody, Soybean Farmer. Date's Wednesday, February the 12th. Got a package in the mail last night. Got it on the front porch, really. Um, Really cool story about how I ended up with this package. And so I want to share it with y'all and tell you what happened. For those of you who remember this video back on February the 4th, fall tillage, started off with preparation of greasing my John Deere BW disc, and I wanted to show off my LockNLube attachment to my pathetic grease gun, so I did, and I'm really pleased with that LockNLube. So I've incorporated, a little piece about that LockNLube into this video that you're looking at on my phone here, and lo and behold, something happened. Let me see if I can share that with y'all. Another button here. Okay. Yeah, and it would do that. There we go. It actually worked. Okay. So I got an email, and this email just kind of blew me away. It was from LockNLube, titled Follow Up. And it says here, I was glad to see that you liked the idea of a locking coupler in your recent video. Sadly, the one you bought is a counterfeit product from China. When it fails, I don't want you to think that LockNLube built a bad tool. If you send me a mailing address, we can get you the real thing so that you've got tools that last and come with our lifetime guarantee and replacement wear parts. Keep up the great work, Jay. And lo and behold, this guy, the president of LockNLube. Well, needless to say, it didn't take me long to come together with a response on this. And I sent him my address, and he sent me back this nice email here about what he was going to send me. I won't get into reading all this, but it just blew my mind. The first off, I didn't realize the one I had was a counterfeit. Ordered it off of eBay, and I went back and looked, and there's something you need to know about ordering stuff from eBay. There's going to be a little fine print thing in there that says shipped from China, and if it says shipped from China, it's a made in China product. I didn't know that, but the information that was sent to me let me get on the LockNLube website and actually look at the LockNLube tool, and I saw that it had LockNLube written on it. So that was the difference, and that's how Jay, the president of LockNLube, quickly identified the one that I was showing didn't have the proper markings on it. So I sat around and thought about this. I said, how does the president of a corporation end up looking at my video? That was really puzzling me. So I sent him back a question. I said, tell me something. How did you end up seeing this video? And he told me that one of you wonderful subscribers sent him an email to tell him that I was enthusiastically showing off the LockNLube. That's about all he said. He didn't give me the subscriber's name. Didn't mention anything about it being the fake Chinese thing that I was showing off and so pleased with. But I want to thank whoever did that. You know who you are. I didn't get your name. I don't know who you are. But thank you, because we got a package to open. And I'm excited about seeing what's in here, because in Jay's email here, he did say, I'll send you a couple tools, some we make here and some that are made in our engineering partner in South Africa. Couple of tools. Well, let's get into this and see what a couple of tools turns into being. I got the box unwrapped, and it's laying here. So let's see what's in this. What I was kind of expecting based on the conversation at first was that Jay was going to send me the LockNLube tip to go on the end of my grease gun, but it looks like he sent me a whole lot more. The second email mentioned a couple of tools, so Let's see what's in this. Wow. Okay, this looks like some type of accessory set. So let me get these things pulled out of here and we'll take a look at what they are. Alright, I got each one of the accessories pulled up out of the nice little canvas fold-up pack that they can be stored in. And we'll take a look at each one of them. This is a grease needle. And these are very handy. You can grease wheel bearings with these things without wasting a bunch of grease with the old conventional style of doing it. Here, I'll show you how easy it would be. You take the genuine LockNLube, and the reason we know this one's genuine is holding it upside down. Let's turn it right. Right there, you can see it's written LockNLube, got the logo on the end of the coupler. But take that, put it in like that, good solid connection, and use your grease gun to pump grease through here and inject it into bearings. So that's going to be really handy. And this one is another one of the same, and you just clip it right on like so. And this is a more stout one for injecting grease into other tight areas. So now this one, I was really tickled with this. This is going to be real handy on a couple of spots on the combine. But pull that back, couple that on there, and now in those tight locations, that's conventional tight, but I can get it on those grease fittings and get them greased. And then to take it off, you just unlock it and pull it apart. Now, I mentioned, Jay called it to my attention, and I found out by looking around, learning a little more about buying stuff off of eBay, that I had that Chinese thing. And the first thing I noticed when I started squeezing that lever right there like that, this spring is twice as strong as what's on that cheap copy imitation. That right there is going to provide a lot more tension on locking this. And I noticed here, when that's locked on, it's solid. I'm trying to wiggle it, it does not wiggle. That spring pushes this piece up tight enough to hold those jaws firmly on that. Much nicer tool here with that. But let's say you got a situation where you can't get in there with this. Take that, clamp it on there, and now you got the flexibility here to use this to get into it. I'm starting to see that what they've done here is somebody has thought through about every situation you could get into with trying to grease a piece of equipment, and they've come up with a solution for each of those situations. Take this piece for example. Pretend like you got a grease fitting in a really restricted area, real tight, got something on either side of it, and there's no way that you'd get the width of this up into it. So take this tool, clamp it on like that, and the way that's actually shaped now, it's a restricted area. So let's just pretend, for example, that this piece right here is that grease fitting you're trying to get to. Well, just take that and press it on, and press firmly, and since that is held so rigidly by the actual LockNLube coupler, you'd actually be able to get grease to go into that. So I got a couple of places on the combine that there's good possibility that I might just use this. And here, another attachment for getting grease in something. and I think that's going to be real handy too. Now this one, that one right there is going to be super handy. That's like a right angle situation. Let's pretend like this is our grease fitting we want to get on. You just slide that on like that, and it would lock in place because of what they've got inside of here. And so take that, clamp it to the LockNLube, and then slide it on. That would come in handy. Let's say you got a piece of metal or something on the machine that's up like that, and you can't approach it from that direction. Well, you could take that and come in there like so. Yeah, I got a couple of places, 2 of them I'm thinking of right off on the 4Runner pickup truck. I'll be using this for that. So that's an overview of all the really nice attachments that was sent to me, and I got a use for every one of them. I'm delighted to have them. So let's look at what else is down in here now. Now, it's just a complete and total shock to me that there's such a nice amount of tools in here. The LockNLube here is already attached onto that hose, and you can see it comes off like that. Now the hose goes with the grease gun, but this LockNLube actually would have come in this package right here. And again, you can see right there, if I'm holding it right, you can see where it says here LockNLube. Look for that. That's the official marking on the official tool. If it ain't got that, it ain't the official tool. And I've mentioned how stout that spring is for locking it on. But that accessory pack, or that piece right there, Jay mentioned in the email there was replacement parts for the wear parts, and contained right in here is the spare seal kit. So, you know, things wear out over time. You use them, they wear. You can rebuild this coupler with the parts that are in here. So that's going to give this thing a long life. And then knowing that LockNLube actually sells this, you know, years down the road, and buy another one of these and rebuild it again. So I'm excited about that. But what I noticed here is they've got the extended grease coupler, and it comes in the package, you know, again containing the rebuild parts. But what you've got here is simply the same concept technology. You can see it says LockNLube right there above my thumb, but this barrel is longer. Now let's see if I can just barely mash it. That is a seriously stout spring, which is going to be really what you need for holding this coupler on there. But you can see it coming up there. That's another situation where you've got something restricting your access. This one's too short to reach it. In other words, you can see the difference there. That added amount right there is a good possibility that would let you actually get into it and grease it and not have to get into that accessory pack. But LockNLube has really thought this thing through with the different accessories that they have sent me for, you know, so many different situations where you're going to be trying to grease a piece of farm equipment or construction equipment or whatever it is that you're, you know, attempting to maintain by keeping it properly lubricated and greased. That's going to be really handy. Let's see what else is in here. Okay, the next tool that Jay included in this gift, this right here is really handy. You go out to an auction, you find an old piece of equipment, you say, yeah, I can use that, so you buy it and you bring it home and you start cleaning it up, working on it, and you find out that half the grease fittings on it have dried up, hardened grease in them, and you cannot get your grease gun to push grease through them. So you're faced with spinning them off and throwing them away and replacing them. Or if you have this tool, you can save them. You can bring them back to life. Let me show you how this works. Alright, what you got here, a standard grease coupler, and let's see how that works. Alright, you heard that loud pop noise when I pulled the plunger out of the tool. You got a reservoir down here in this end of the tool, and you would put penetrating oil in here. I'd say fill it about half full, and then you see the double O-rings right here on the plunger. That's what gave it such a tight seal when I pulled it apart. And you put that back in, bump it in slightly. Alright, now you've got penetrating oil in here in the reservoir. Take that connector and stick it firmly onto the grease fitting that you're trying to unclog. Now, take a hammer and start tapping this. And as you tap it with the hammer, you see it going in. And what's happening, because of the double O-ring seal, is you're pushing that penetrant out of here, through that grease fitting. And because the penetrant is a penetrating type oil, it's going to bust up that clogged grease out of there and push it out. I've been examining this grease gun, and what I have found is truly professional. Everything about it. Let me share it with you. First thing I noticed, that's a swivel. See how that's turning? There's been times with my homeowner hobby grade grease gun that the hose got bound up because it didn't have this neat swivel feature. That's going to be really, really, really handy. Yeah, that's awesome. And something else about this professional grade grease gun, that nut right there, a 13mm wrench, yeah, 13mm wrench, fits it perfect. That cheap thing that I have that I probably will discard, nothing fits it. They just didn't make it the right size. But that is awesome. Now the second feature I've noticed about this grease gun, the top of this is massive, super solid, and it's got the bleeder valve with the little ball here. Unscrew it like that to get pressure off of it, but you don't really need to totally unscrew it to make it work. That's going to be nice. But I've never had a grease gun in my hand with that well-made top piece like this. All I've had is the cheap flimsy stuff. But handle has this little lock on it here. That is solid. Very well made. Very pleased with that. Now, something else I've noticed here, this plunger has the feature on it that mine does not have. I had so much trouble with my old grease gun, I watched a couple of YouTube videos about how to load it and how to operate it. And I found out that my grease gun did not have this feature. Now looking straight into there, you see that little oblong spot there and again right there. I hope the camera's picking that up. That lets you lock this shaft here by turning it slightly. You see I'm turning it? You can lock the shaft to the actual plunger plate so that in the event that you've got a serious air pocket up in here, by locking that shaft, and the shaft would be, out, you could actually press on this shaft to assist the spring that's in here to press this plunger against the grease, open the bleeder valve, and push that air out. That's one of the most aggravating things in the world with grease guns, is getting that air, that vapor lock out of here so that the grease will actually flow through the gun. Now, something else I've noticed about this thing, I need to get a firm grip on this. That spring inside of that tube is 3 times stronger than any one I have ever had my hands on. You get serious to pull that shaft out, and it's got the professional grade lock on it, not that little tab thing that's on the grease gun I own. So once you get it pulled fully extended, you just lean it over. You can see it's leaning a little bit here, and it locks it in place. Now you're ready to drop a full cartridge in here, screw the cap back on, unlock that, and that powerful spring is going to drive that plunger up against the grease, and with the vent cap open slightly, it'll push the air out. I'm excited about this. I had no clue that Jay was going to hook me up so nicely with a complete professional grade set of equipment for greasing and maintaining my farm equipment. Now, I mentioned in the first part of this video, how does it that the president of a corporation ends up watching, my video? Well, I asked Jay, how did you end up watching that video? And I mentioned this. He told me that one of my subscribers had sent him an email. So I just want to thank that subscriber. I don't know who you are because Jay didn't reveal you to me, but I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. Things happen and set things in motion, and you taking the time to write that email to Jay at LockNLube and tell him about the video where I was, just enthusiastically showing off what I thought was my LockNLube, which turned out to be a imitation, proceeded to cause this to happen. Jay sent me all this stuff, and Jay, thank you very much. All you subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to Soybean Farmer, for watching my videos. Thank you.